Hey, what is going on guys? Welcome back to another Android app development tutorial. Today I'm gonna show you how we should implement the bottom navigation view in our Android apps. And I'll show you everything starting from designing to its all functionalities. So before we go deep into the coding, let me clarify what we're gonna learn today. So first we will see how to launch multiple fragments from the bottom navigation view. And I'll show you both ways, a traditional way of the implementation and nowadays how developers are using the bottom navigation view to achieve the same navigations by the help of the navigation graph component. Also we will see to create badges so that we can display the number of pending messages or notifications. And most importantly, at the end of the day, you will learn the way I customize a bottom navigation view, including motion animations that gives a good user experience. So I would suggest you to watch this video till the end because there will be a couple of key points to cover, and this is going to be a complete guide on Android bottom navigation view. So what we are waiting for? Let's jump straight into the Android Studio and see how we can implement this step by step. The bottom navigation view is a part of the material library that is actually made by Google. If you are using the latest and the greatest version of the Android Studio, or to be very specific, if you are using Ladybug version of the Android Studio or above, then you might don't need to include that material library in the build or guide of the module level because it should be already included there. However, if you don't see such library, then just go ahead and add that first and complete step 1. Now to begin with, I'm gonna first add a bottom navigation view in this activity main.xml. Type angle bracket bottom navigation view. Hit tab. Now set layout width to match parent and layout height wrap content. Now let's do some alignment work. Like here we will add align parent bottom and pass true. See, our bottom navigation view is now on its own position. So till now, whatever you have seen on top of a bottom navigation view, some texts or some icons or images, those are actually menu items, nothing else. So under this res directory, we will create a menu directory. So right click on the res directory, new Android resource directory. Here select resource type as menu, then click OK. Now right click on this menu directory, then new menu resource file. Now let's name it menu bottom nav. Now switch to the text editor, and here inside this menu tag I'll add a few menu items. Angle bracket item. Now add title. I'll call it home. Then add an icon. Add drawable. We haven't added any icons yet, so let's import some icons now. Right click on the drawable, then new vector asset. Now I'll select this local file option. And from here I'll pick up an icon. Now click next and finish. Now here just pass the icon name. I see home. Let's also give it an ID. Menu home. And here we have our home menu item. Similar to this, I will add 2 more menu items. However, we can add up to 5 items. If you have more than 5 items, consider using a tab layout for the additional options. Anyway, I will now just replicate this menu item for 2 times. Now I will change this ID. Menu search. Also let's change the title. Search. Now let's say this menu item will be for the notifications. So let's give it an appropriate ID, menu notifications. Now change the title again, notifications. Now I will add 2 more icons for these 2 items. So again, right click on the drawable, new vector asset, Now coming back to the activity main.xml, here I will add menu attribute. Menu, hit tab, then add menu bottom nav. And on the right side of the screen in the preview pane, you can see all the menu items in our bottom navigation view. Now I will assign an ID. Bottom nav. Now in our activity class, let's see how we can easily access and control this bottom navigation view programmatically in order to handle click events or selections. Here type bottom navigation view, then inside on create, let's initialize it, bottom navigation view equal to find view by id r.id.bottom nav. Now type bottom navigation view again, then dot set on ItemSelectedListener, then new on ItemSelectedListener, hit tab. Now see, when a user taps on a bottom navigation items, this on navigation item selected method will be called, and from its parameter we will retrieve that particular clicked or selected menu item. So in order to identify which particular menu item is selected, just use a conditional operator like if else and check whether the ID of this item variable and the ID that we have given to the each menu items, if both are equal, then only we will perform a task. For example, we can launch a fragment. So let me show you that quickly. Int ID equal to item dot get item ID, then if ID equal to r.id.menu home. Now I will just display a toast message, let's say home, and from now on whenever we select this home menu, only this toast message will be displayed. Perfect. Now let's do the same thing for the other two items as well. So I'll just copy this if condition, then here type else and paste that if condition. Now let's say this is for the search menu. So let's change this ID to menu search, and here type, let's say searching. Now again I will copy this code and paste here, and this is for menu notification. Also remember to change this return value to true. Otherwise bottom navigation view will not be able to indicate the selections on the UI level. Anyway, now if I run this code and click on these menu items, will these toast messages show up? Let's see. Alright, as you guys can see, our app is running. Now let's click on this search menu item. See, search toast message. Now click on notification. Yes, another toast message for notifications. Let's also check out our home item. See guys, all the item selections are working seamlessly. Great. But how do you link your fragments with your bottom navigation menu items? Well, there are basically two ways to achieve this. As I already told you, number one, you can create all the fragments in our activity, and then according to our selection, we can navigate to a particular fragment. And number two, we can even use the navigation graph to open fragments. We'll see this a bit later. So for now, I'll just create a few fragments pretty quickly. Right click on the root package, new, fragment, then fragment blank. This one, I'll call it home fragment. Then click finish. Now I will create two more blank fragments for search item and notifications item. Now in order to differentiate all the fragments, I will also add some background colors to each fragments. Here type background and pass a color. Alright, now we will replace all these toast messages with these fragments. So inside this on navigation item selected method, at the very beginning, we'll create a fragment variable. Type fragment selected fragment. Also initialize it with null. Now I will remove this toast message and type selected fragment equal to new home fragment. Similarly, I will do the same thing for this search menu and notification menu. So I'll just copy this line, then replace this toast message. And instead of this home fragment, search fragment. Let's also replace this toast message and here type new notification fragment. And this is how these fragments will be created as a selected fragment, but it will not be displayed though. So in order to display this selected fragment, first we will check if selected fragment not equal to null. Then call get supported fragment manager, then dot begin transaction dot replace, neither add nor attach. We will use only replace method here. Now we need to pass two things. First is the ID of the fragment container. Then we need to pass a fragment variable. In this case, we will pass this selected fragment. Selected fragment. Now let's set up an container that will hold all these fragments one by one. So inside this activity main.xml, I will just create a frame layout. Angle bracket, frame layout. Now set layout with match parent and layout height match parent also. Then close it. Let's also assign an ID. Fragment container. Now move on to the activity class again, and here pass the ID r.id.fragment container. In the end, type dot commit, and that's it. Now let's test the application. As you guys can see, our app is installed, and in the bottom navigation view, even though this home item is selected by default, the home fragment is still not visible. So if I tap on the home item again, see, it is visible now. Let's tap on search. This is our search fragment. Good. Tap on notifications. See, everything is working fine. And this is how we can navigate from fragment to fragment by the help of bottom navigation view. Anyway, now let's fix the default fragment visibility issue. So here in this activities on create method, first we will check whether this saved instance state is null or not, and this will happen during the initial creation of this activity. So simply type if saved instance state equal to null. It means it's a fresh creation. Also you can compare with the selected menu ID of the bottom navigation view, just like this above comparison, so that you can display the fragment based on the default menu item selection. Now I will simply copy this line and paste here. Also remove this selected fragment. Then type new home fragment, and that's all we need. Now let's quickly build and run this code. See guys, by default home fragment is visible, and this is how we can display a fragment as a home fragment or default one. And here home is selected as it was, which is good. But what about this search item and this notification item? I mean, how do you set one of them as a home item or default menu item? Well, it's quite easy. So just after this initialization of the bottom navigation view, simply type bottom navigation view dot set selected item ID, and then pass your desired menu item ID, just like this, r.id.menu search. So now if I build and run this code again, this search item should be selected. See guys, this time search item is selected. Although we can see the home fragment is still there, or as a default fragment, because we need to make some changes here also. Like here we have defined home fragment as the default fragment. So let's change here to search fragment. That's it. Now let's build our code again. As you guys can see, the search fragment has been shown as soon as the app activity is created. But if we use navigation graph component, it will be a lot easier to manage all these complexities. So in order to integrate navigation graph component, just click on this resource manager. Then select navigation. Then click on this plus button. Then navigation resource file. I will name it main nav. Now click OK. Alright, so here we are getting an warning because these libraries are necessary for the navigation component. So just click OK. Android Studio will automatically add these libraries in the build.gradle. Now on the left hand side, under this res directory, you can see another directory called navigation. Here is that main nav XML file. Let's open it. And here we will add all our fragments from here. Select home fragment. Now select notification fragment and search fragment. Now click on this text editor. Here we will only look for these IDs. To make sure that the IDs those are given here and the IDs of the bottom nav menu items are exactly the same. As you can see, in this case these are different. So let's make them same or equal. Like from here I'll copy this menu home ID and here I'll replace this home fragment ID with menu home. Let's also set the ID here because we are getting an error. I will explain to you this a bit later. For now, let's just change these IDs first. Alright, so our first step is completed. Now inside the activity main.xml, first I will remove this frame layout. Then type angle bracket fragment hit tab layout width match parent, then layout height match parent also. Now we will set the navigation graph where our fragments are defined. So simply type app : nav graph. Although the Android Studio is indicating it's an error. Now type equal to double quotes, then at navigation main nav. And in the preview pane, see the default home fragment is visible. Finally, make sure to act this fragment as a host for navigation or reusable fragments. So simply type name attribute, then Android X dot navigation dot fragment dot nav host fragment. Also let's assign an ID. Fragment container. Now inside main activity class, first we will remove all these code, or let's just comment them. Now let's initialize the bottom navigation view and an app controller. So bottom navigation view equal to find view by ID r.id.bottomNav. Then type nav controller nav controller equal to navigation dot find nav controller. Now here pass main activity dot this, then pass the fragment containers id r.id.fragment container. Finally, we will call navigation UI dot setup with nav controller. Here we will pass this bottom navigation view. And here pass this nav controller. So this setup will allow bottom navigation view to automatically manage the fragment transactions via the nav controller. When we select a different item, the corresponding fragment should appear in the fragment container. So let's run the code again and see what we have. As you guys can see, by default home fragment is visible. Also in the bottom navigation view, the corresponding home item is selected as well. Now let's tap on the other two navigation items. See, this is the search item. This is for notifications. So we can say yes, bottom navigation view is working fine with the navigation graph component. But if I close this app and open it up again, see, by default home fragment is showing. So in order to set the fragment or these menu items as the default item, simply open the main nav XML file and here pass your desired fragment ID. Let's say menu search, or in the GUI editor mode, first select a fragment, then click on this home icon. You can see here at the top of the search fragment we have a home icon that indicates from now this search fragment will act as a home fragment and it will be launched at the beginning as a default one. Super simple. Now let's build and run our code again. Now you can see this time as soon as the app is launched, by default this search item is selected. Also the search fragment is visible. So this is how we can use a bottom navigation view and a navigation graph component. I think I have shown you all the functionalities and how to use them step by step. Now if you want to learn more about the bottom navigation view and its customization, then watch this video. Thank you so much for watching guys. See you soon in the next one. Have a great day.